right. Hi, everybody. We are here with a surprise live today. We had a Call to Peace staff meeting, and I mentioned to Andre I would love to bring him up to talk to y'all today since we have been talking about myths that the church believe. Andre is a member of our staff on Call to Peace team. He serves alongside Jim Upchurch. They are both in our church partnership group, and they also work with the G5 ministry. So I'm going to let him introduce himself, tell you who he is, and what he does for Call to Peace Ministries.
All right. Thank you, Lauren. I am Andre Turrentine, pastor at the Shepherd's Well in Raleigh, North Carolina. We call ourselves a revival hub, just a small group of folks trying to sharpen one another and in our understanding and relationships with the Lord. And um, I'm married. I have four lovely children, and as a result of um, life issues, it has led me to meeting Joy Forrest at Call to Peace Ministries. And over time, we've just developed a really neat relationship. I was on the board for almost 6 years before making this transition to being one of the church partnership liaisons with Call to Peace Ministries.
And we are so glad to have you. You add a lot to our team. I love it when you pray. When you open staff meetings, I get to hear you pray. That is like, um, you
Thank
definitely connect, have a deep walk with God. And it's just such a blessing to me and to all of us that you are part of this team. And so today he agreed last minute to come on here and talk about the myths. And so I was going to read them a little bit. We're going to announce the one that we're doing tomorrow, and then we're going to talk about it from a pastor's perspective and how he got involved with Call to Peace, why he's passionate about this, and how this would help churches to be involved with Call to Peace, what it does. And so we're going to start with myth one that we talked about this week. Myth one of abuse is it doesn't happen in Christian homes. Myth two is submission will solve the problem. Myth 3, it's the woman's fault. Myth 4, domestic abuse isn't as bad as domestic violence. And tomorrow's myth, you get a kind of heads up on, is if an abuser is truly sorrow and forgiven, the relationship should be reconciled. And we know there's many more myths than these out there. This is just a few of them, a handful of them from some research that was done by Lifeway. How about you, Andre? Is there any other myths that you found yourself believing, or maybe other pastors believing, that is not covered here that you think we should talk about or raise awareness about?
I'd have to say that it's the idea that it's a marital communication issue. The idea that if they would just learn to speak to one another, it'll be all right. The other one that I find that even I struggle with as a pastor, just trying to make sure that I'm hearing it properly, is thinking that I can be neutral and actually be effective in this. Uh, is a very convoluted process if you're not engaging properly. And so sometimes I think pastors think that they can sit on the fence and sort of play mediator, um, but that's not
Yeah.
possible.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. Um, is So as a pastor, how has Call to Peace helped you in understanding domestic abuse, these myths, and being able to help women that are in domestic abuse?
Yeah. Um, you know, that's a great question, Lauren, especially for me. I've had a experience with domestic violence growing up. I saw it in my family for a couple of generations even. Um,
Mm,
and so I was aware. But what Call the Peace Ministries has done to help me understand is just the nuances. You would think that this is just a light issue, but the idea that um, the abuser has taken so much time to set the stage, not only to control and to oppress his spouse, but to control the narrative that the people around her or around them understand. And it's,
wow.
it's quite, um, the fact that I've seen that from the studies and personally, I've seen how repetitive. It's not exactly the same with everybody, but there are so many um, constants in the way that the abuser operates that you would think that there's a school for this. And the
Yes.
idea that that there is also, and that brought to mind how much pastors need to be educated on this. Um, I actually I resisted going into ministry just because of things that I saw coming up, but the Lord was calling and calling and calling. So I said, okay, Lord, I'll go. I'll get prepared. I'll go to divinity school and I'm going to focus on the chaplaincy and counseling. I don't want that traditional church ministry. And
Yeah.
so I went the counseling and past chaplaincy route, and still there was not much um, training and understanding of how to operate as a minister in this environment. This is very special, very um, technical training is needed for this. Um,
Yes.
and I don't think you get it until you've gotten really close to it.
And I think so many pastors don't realize that, like how, like until it's like it seems like until the situation comes and hits them right in the face, where there's like domestic violence going on in their congregation, to even understand how complicated this is. It's
Yeah,
just, I mean,
yeah,
I've lived through it, but I before then would never be able to understand the ins and outs of this or the complications of this had I not been through it myself. And I can imagine as a pastor being able to shepherd people would be very hard if you've not been exposed to it or even training and teaching and how to deal with it.
yeah. You know, I liken it to the first time me as a guy changed a diaper.
Yes.
You just think that this is just going to be a breeze. It's my kid, no problem. But when
Yeah.
you open up and see and smell and experience what's going on there, you really want to run and hide. And I think that
Yes.
a lot of times pastors think that this is going to be um, this is going to be a snap. I know how to help people communicate, and therefore I can calm this issue. I can lay out what the expectations ought to be, and it'll be fine. And then they find out how um, messy this is, and how deep, and also how time consuming this is going to be. And without a team, I don't know how they would do it effectively.
Very true. Yes, I've seen that in churches. I think that they don't realize, like, yes, how much help this woman is going to need and how much it's going to take to help her overcome it. And you most certainly definitely need a team. It would not be something one man could do by himself very easily.
Right.
Um, so how has Call to Peace, if, I guess I would ask, like, how has that helped you as a pastor to be able to have a team alongside you? Or how have you seen that as a pastor in the church partnership, having a team? What difference does that make versus just doing it yourself and trying hard to do it yourself, I guess?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, the, I always think you don't want to lean on your own understanding. And it is good to have counsel and take counsel with people that have been dealing with this very closely and understand the nuances of
Hmm.
the abuse and the violence that go on. So often folks think that it's not abuse or until somebody has a black eye or until it gets physical.
Yeah.
But and that's like the easy route almost. So to have um, Call to Peace ministries, advocates that have been trained to help parlay the 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 experiences of the survivor in a way that I could understand it, or in a way that really brought it home, so that I'm not so that I am
Hmm.
moved off the fence to know that, okay, my true sense of urgency needs to be on helping and supporting her, not necessarily trying to connect her back with the one that's causing this pain for her. um, and the idea that I have other pastors that are I'm that I'm not in this by myself, that I was not the only
Yeah.
pastor that did not get it, and it's even more significant that I'm able to say that because I saw it growing up. So
Mhm.
the understanding that this is so much deeper than I thought, and to have a lifeline and some guidance and some direction on how to do this well, um, it's huge.
Wow, that was really well said. That I thank you for sharing that. And I'm just thinking of it too from a survivor's perspective. A lot of times they're not even in a place to be able to fully explain to you everything that's happening because they're so traumatized. So for
Right.
you having an advocate there for them that can help them understand the dynamics and also help you is just it's a lifesaver for both
Yeah.
pastor and the woman,
Yeah.
not
Because I
feeling alone.
in as a liaison, I've talked with several pastors who are very frustrated. They want to help, but because of the trauma, she's not able to convey everything that's going on, or we find ourselves pressing for information which basically has her reliving what she's experienced.
Oh
And
yeah.
we're just, when that comes to light, we can immediately start taking a different approach, and you don't know it until you know it, you know.
Definitely. That yeah, it's just 100% true. And like, I mean, I think even coming out like a year or two later, you may not even realize something was physical violence, which I may sound crazy, but sometimes it's so disguised in your marriage that you don't
Right.
even have words to explain anything happened to you. All you know is you feel very afraid and scared, and you can't even communicate the depths because
Yeah.
he's gaslighting her. So she's like, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe this. And it's just like, just being able to discern all that would be very difficult.
Yeah.
Even having lived through it myself as a I would be like, whoa, without training, that's just it's just a really big challenge. I'm grateful for what you're doing and being able to help women. And we were just talking about this today in staff meeting. It's just like this is a huge heart and passion of ours with Call to Peace Ministries, because when pastors get a hold of this and are able to get training and help, we're really able to help so many more women than what we can by ourselves. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, why is it important for churches to be involved in this? Like, um, why do we as Call to Peace advocate for churches to have a church partnership with us?
Right. I think it's significant and very important for churches to get connected with Call the Peace, and the resources that Call the Peace provides, because if they're not preparing their flock, their congregation, the families that they are ministering to, um, then they're leaving them open to this continuing. If I'm a black man, you can tell that, right?
Yeah.
As we've had to deal with all the social unrest as a result of George Floyd's death, you know,
Hmm.
I knew that this was a problem long before that. So I have
Right.
spoken and trained and raised the people in my congregation, my family, with the understanding that everything is not going to be fair. Everything doesn't look like um, the way it should be, and justice may not be there for you. So, this is the way we carry ourselves. And so, when we get stopped on the road, we know there's a certain protocol to look for, to be
Hmm.
in the church. There's not much difference between that racial undertone and the oppression that's found there, and the oppression that a woman experiences as a result of domestic violence. And so, without her being aware that somebody's listening, that there are people that are interested in stepping in the gap for her, um, For children not to know that they can communicate with their spiritual leaders about the what's really going on at home, I
Hmm.
find that we do our churches a disservice. That's not protecting the flock. And um, I don't think you can do that effectively if you're not prepared to help people get out of the situation, help people
Hmm.
understand what's going on, give them examples of what's going on so that they can recognize it and identify it within their homes or within their friends and family. Um, the whole gamut. If you're not actively resisting this kind of oppression, you are welcoming it. I know one of the myths was that this doesn't happen in Christian homes, or uh, I find that abusers or predators are seeking
Hmm.
out Christians, and because of the faith and the belief that they have, you are supposed to be welcoming. You are supposed to be forgiving. You are
Hmm.
supposed to already understand what being submissive is. And then that gets used in a very vile and um, unhealthy way. And so we've got to let people know that they're stranger danger, and it might be right next to you. You've got to be ready to act and be of help. Not only that, but so often we look for a quick response, and as
Hmm.
pastors we want to see them out of that situation and press, and we think about, why haven't you left yet, what are you holding on to, and we try to make decisions for her, and then ultimately end up victimizing her again, or making the situation much worse because we didn't understand that it gets it, it elevates the moment she's starting to talk about leaving or separating. And
Oh, yes.
we think that, well, if it's not working for you there, we can put you in such and such's home, and then think that that's going to be safe just because they've taken them out of that situation. But the stories that have been shared through Call to Peace, through some of the Protect the Flock trainings, let us know that there's a lot to be thought through before making a quick and um, hasty retreat or move in an effort to help. We can cause a lot more harm.
Wow, that's really good. I love the quote that you said too. If you're not protecting your flock and educating on this, you're inviting it in. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
wow. And then like seeing some pastors who want to help and you're trying to help, but unless you're really prepared, like you said, it's just sometimes it's doing more harm than, well, not more harm, but it's re-victimizing her and harming her
Right.
in ways that they desire to be helping, but it's not. That's really good. And what would you say to any pastor or church leader that may be watching this? Like,
Connect with
why
Call
is
to
it?
Peace Ministries.
Yes.
Give us a call. My name is Andre Turntine. You can reach us at calltopeace.org, and get connected, because it's a necessity. I guarantee you weren't taught what you needed to know in order to efficiently respond to domestic violence in divinity school or um, in most trainings. It just hasn't happened, and that goes for um, counselors as well. So I would encourage even those pastoral counselors and counselors that are on your staff. You, the pastor, know that that's not your duty. You think you have somebody in position to do that, but unless they've had specific domestic violence training and understand those issues, you're not equipped. And so get equipped, and to search out answers that will help make you more effective in protecting your flock.
I love that. And we have an upcoming Protect the Flock too. So, do you
That's
want to tell them about that?
sure. That's why I keep saying protect your flock. Little
Yes.
advertisement I've learned to do there. We have a protect the flock um, training coming up the 29th of July. In that, you'll learn and you'll hear testimonies of survivors. You'll hear what survivors have actually dealt with and had to walk through. You get an indication on the way that an abuser thinks, and we will discuss what what it looks like to develop and start preparing a team and a corporate response to domestic violence for your church. Or if you have a small church like mine, how do you get connected with other resources to handle that effectively?
Wow, I love that. I'm so excited for it. And it's in person. So, and it's local. The next one will not
Yeah,
be local. So,
it's
this is
right
a
there in
really big deal.
Raleigh. Hmm.
Yes. And we're serving breakfast for those who attend in the morning, and you'll have time to meet Andre and Jim and a lot of other. You'll be speaking there, correct?
I'll be speaking there. Jim Upchurch will be there. Joy Forrest will be there. We'll have some legal representation there. Um, Richard and Tiffany, uh, what's the name of their firm?
Lesnick.
Lesnick,
Lesnick.
Lesnick Firm.
Yes.
So they'll be there, and prayerfully you'll be there.
Yes.
The past the churches
Oh,
that
yes. All
come
right.
to
There. Yes.
participate, you will find other pastors
We want
there,
you there.
and we want to see you there. Yeah.
Yes, we are very excited about it. And I mean, like you're saying, counselors can come too. Last time I was there, my biblical counselor was there and found the training to be very helpful and to be
Hmm.
connecting with other churches in your areas. So it's gonna be great. I'm gonna link at the top of this interview the Protect the Flock information. So if you want to sign up, you can click on that link to sign up. Also, if you have any questions, I'm going to go check right now. Drop them in the comments below for Andre, and we'll answer them. And then also, I'm going to link a website to his church as well. Maybe you're in the area and he's in Raleigh. So if you're looking for a church that's in Raleigh that supports women in domestic abuse, we highly recommend his church. So I will put a link to his church too, and you can check it out. And we want to thank him so much for coming and talking with us today. That was really powerful. Is there anything else while I'm looking for comments that you would like to share that I um, missed or didn't touch on?
No, I think you've covered it all. I think that prayerfully, anyone that's looking to be a helper, whether they're a pastor, whether they are a women's ministry leader or a men's ministry leader, they they want to connect with Call to Peace Ministry, just to find out more about how far reaching and how detailed and how nuanced this is.
Wow, we have 21 comments.
Okay.
Um, let's see what people say here. Okay, now I'm trying to pull all these comments up. Um, okay, most of the people are sharing stuff. Okay. Oh, no, one of the girls, Nicole, was saying she hopes and praying that you can make it to the West Coast soon and do a pastoral training out there, protect the flock. That would be really fun.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Well,
that would be awesome.
we're doing as much as we can by Zoom until then.
How far is Raleigh from Wilmington? That is about 2 hours, probably. Definitely,
Hmm.
you can make it down there by 9 o'clock and 12 and still have a working day. Please
Yeah.
come. Not far at all. Let's see if there's any more questions. Oh, well, there we go. I'm going to lose the questions. Hold on. Why do I have technical difficulties sometimes? Okay. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any questions that are in here. So
That means we did a
um,
good job.
we did a good job. You covered everything. So if there is any more questions that come up, I'll ask him. And yes, please share this with any of your friends that you see, your pastor that maybe you think would benefit from watching this today, and invite him to protect the flock. We would love to have you there and your church there. You can attend live if you cannot attend in person, but I highly recommend in person. I went to the one last year in person. It was just really incredible. Like, it's just something about being in person was really powerful. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. And I'll be there as well doing some interviews that day. So it should be a fun day.
Great. Thank you,
All right.
Lauren.
Well, thank you so much, Andre, for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. God bless you.
God bless you.